pretty
hasn't been
like,
corroborated.
pretty significantly.
He's just lying. It hasn't been corroborated. He's just lying. Lumi, dude. Oh, I hate this guy so much. I hate these.
So, to those of you who don't know, we are being joined today by Joshua Collins. He is running for Congress in the 10th District of Washington. If he makes it to Congress, he would be the youngest person in Congress and the first openly autistic person in Congress. So thank you so much for joining us, Joshua. I really appreciate it. I'm curious, how did you determine your platform?
So we spent months on this. Actually, it was a long process. But we basically did conversations with different communities. Ones that I'm not a part of. Making sure that
I'll bet you $1,000 that
not
Lumi sent this guy all the questions before he came on.
Cool.
Guaranteed.
We like anyone can write a bunch of policies for indigenous issues, but if you do that, you're going to end up with things that aren't necessarily liked by the indigenous community, or framing that isn't quite what they'd like to see in a candidate's platform. I do believe in abolishing the CIA, and that's something that a lot of people we have a lot of fun with it, but it is actually a serious policy. The CIA is one of the worst agencies in the history of the country, and they've done countless destabilization of nations. And it's something that Bernie Sanders used to push for, JFK, before he got taken out.
I think Lumi is just as bad as anybody that platforms any white nationalist or Nazi on this program without challenging him on any of these positions. I would put them on an equivalent level of that. I know they're not going to push back on any of this stupid abolish the fucking CIA. Give me a break.
I did want to kind of pivot over to that you were recently on Twitch on a specific panel, and it seemed like there was a lot of backlash. It was interesting because I was even handling that within my community, and I was wondering, what are your thoughts on that panel, and what do you feel you learned from that panel?
All right.
Well, I went on to that panel. Frankly, that was my biggest mistake.
Cut the mic.
I'm
pretty
sorry.
irresponsible of me.
He said he was tired. I bet he said he was tired. I know that's what he said.
Sort of cut out.
While he was up tweeting 6 hours later about how ass mad he was about it.
I went onto that panel very tired.
Wait, what is Lumi platforming that you have a problem with?
This Jacob for Congress is a scammer, or Joshua for Congress.
I heard him. He's like a fucking moron, right?
He's a scam artist that steals money pretending he's running for Congress.
Nature to
buy into
it. Ignore when I'm behind on sleep. If I'm sick,
no, he's not.
I usually just work through it. And that particular day, I hadn't had any sleep the night before, and
I saw all the plagiarized
policies. Thought I'd be fine. Just because I did other stuff that day. I did some public speaking. I did a panel that morning with a union where I was grilled on my education policy, and I actually did really well on that. And I thought I'd be fine.
Any video of it?
9 hours later, still not having had any sleep or food.
Oh, they did a 24-hour timeout. I can't harass them anymore.
It was irresponsible of me. I should have postponed. I should have rescheduled or whatever. And I didn't, and that was a big mistake on my part.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, then maybe sometime in the future I'll have you on and grill you. But not today. Yeah, so I wanted to know, well, I guess if that's what the main thing that you pulled from that, I was going to ask,
not today, not never.
What are you doing to grow from that experience? I assume that's probably going to be, taking care of yourself in that way so that you're not tired, you're not lacking on any of those basic things. Do you have anything additional to add to that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I still hold the same position. I know that a lot of people are bothered by my position on whether or not I'm gonna vote for Joe Biden. I still I'm not really budging on that, and I feel like that's the way a lot of people are. I am focusing on the efforts of like the Red Strike movement. I'm focusing on, my own campaign and a lot of the political stuff that we are dealing with locally. We're trying to, organize for, undocumented immigrants to get aid because they've been left out of the federal stimulus package. And I think that's stuff that I need to focus on. I still am of the opinion that, if Joe Biden is the nominee,
I would love to ask him these questions. How would you get, now, in theory, I think it'd be okay trying to get illegals aid. How the fuck would you even begin to do that, though? Oh my god, wait, I should be up here.
Biden has an allegation against him. I will be honest, I didn't even want to dive deeper into that.
He made me miss a
just
fucking
because
CS.
of how, like, incredibly taxing that is. I will say I'm gonna vote for Joe Biden. If I have to, I'm gonna drag my feet because I do recognize it as harm reduction, but I'm still learning in that area. I'm still learning, about harm reduction, about how we got here, the two-party system, ways to change it. And at the end of the day, I think, like, I am so sick of hearing the Biden versus the Biden or the Bernie or bust conversation that we had it so that it wouldn't come up anymore. However, I have decided that I'm just gonna start, every time it comes up, I might just say, go join the DSA or something else. I don't know. I'm gonna say, that's my plan. Let's talk about something else because I just find it like very, very, I just feel like that discourse it's been dragging on, and I think it's poorly timed. Biden isn't even confirmed yet, and I'm sure that will probably be the case, right? But I'm like, you're going after people who are very passionate about a particular candidate, and trying to force them into harm reduction right now before you need to do that. And I don't know if it's the best move if you're paying attention to how people react to that. But
I
that's
think
just my stance.
I'm still of the position that they have time to choose a different nominee, even if it's
because you don't know anything about politics or political processes. Of course, that's your position.
The conversation is actually happening very publicly. The press is actually covering the allegation. It's been corroborated.
It hasn't been corroborated.
Pretty significantly.
He's just lying. It hasn't been corroborated. He's just lying. Fuck Lumi, dude. Oh, I hate this guy so much. I hate these fucks just as much as I hate the fucking Nazis. Oh god, I hate him.
A significant amount of it, and I think people are in general believing it, and I think that is a conversation.
What a scumfuck piece of shit, dude. God, I can't wait to. Nah, I can't say anything because I'll get banned on this shit ass website.
They really should, even if it's not the candidate I supported. It would be ideal that they chose someone else, but that's just my opinion.
I hear you. I think that I'll have to look into it a little bit more. I don't think I've looked into it enough to say anything, but I hear you, and thank you for being mindful on that issue. I do appreciate it.
Pay attention to be very aware of. A lot of people run for office, and at the end of their campaign, there isn't really a result because they lose, and then they didn't really have anything set up. They didn't. They didn't really bring a ton of people into the process. They didn't, raise the education level of the average, working class person. They didn't, they didn't create a bunch of organizers, teach a bunch of people how to organize in general. And I think that's something that you should strive to do. It's very easy for people to get.
Can you come up here?
Yep.
The traditional route where you just find people who are already experienced. Call wealthy donors and try to raise money from them, and then you try to pay these experienced, political operatives, and hope that that's going to get you through and to win. But I really think
nice job.
You should always try to take a different approach than everyone else because the traditional routes, frankly, aren't even working anymore. Candidates who raise money the typical way. And I know I talk about raising money a lot. It's something I've done very well, but it's also something that is very important. It's not everything, but you do need to have money to actually run a campaign. And I think that's something to be very, very aware of. I would like to give some insight on how normal candidates raise money as well. Even if someone's a progressive candidate, like, candidates that you really like that are very progressive in Congress today, or people who are running for office today, the way they raise money is not how I raise money. Most of them, what they do is they get a list of donors. Either they have friends that are wealthy that they call,
McDonald's loves to
that they get from like FEC filings of people who have donated to candidates like them or whatever, right? They purchase those lists, and then they call those donors and ask them for large donations. Now, this is very standard in politics. This is what almost every politician does to raise money. They call those donors, and during those conversations, it's, they have to always, craft their messaging, their policies, and how they run their campaign, their strategy around being able to appease those donors. Now, even progressive donors typically aren't progressive as the average working class person. They don't have the same views on rent and other things, right? I'm going to tell my experience, like when I tried doing that, right? So I was already raising money from social media, but I thought I could also raise money from calling donors.
Are you
the way a
serious,
traditional politician does. The first person I ever got on the phone was a Bernie donor, someone who had donated a ton of money to Bernie Sanders, and she was a landlord. And during this phone call, she
smelling something?
Pulled up my website, looked at my policies, immediately started telling me that I would have to change my tenants' rights policies. I would have to remove policies that are in the interest of the average working class person, the average
I would be
renter,
so low
in order to get a donation from her.
Let me calculate my mana. I think we got
she's
enough.
She's flat out said it. And
oh, never mind.
My response to that was, well, no, I'm going to betray the people who are, poor and struggling and renting just so I can get a donation from you as a landlord. And me making that decision is something that most politicians don't make. If you see a politician change their positions, ask yourself, what are they, like, what's happening in the back end? What donor asked them to change that? Like, what did they calculate what were they calculating when they made that decision? And a lot of it is as simple as they want to appease donors, and it's why a lot of even progressive politicians aren't very clear about what their beliefs are and what their policies are, is because they are still accountable to those very.
So one thing that you've seen happen, especially now that the Justice Dems are turning to super PACs to raise money, is all of the socialist fuckers that were LARPing as Democrats or even LARPing as progressives, because apparently a lot of them actually are socialists, is this huge backstabbing of all the progressives. So now they say, well, actually progressives don't represent shit either. Progressives don't actually like working with people, right? This is the pivot that you're seeing now.
Starbucks cashiers and just a bunch of people who give me $4.20, and I'm not really accountable to these wealthy donors who are giving people, max donations, so long as they don't go, out of what they find acceptable. So that would be, and that kind of goes back to my original advice is,
don't worry, homie, I'm on a trail.
Use that to raise money, because
the other she's right there.
Frankly,
she ain't getting away from me.
You're set up to be,
oh wait, she might be getting away from me.
Or to have to, bend, towards the center and like.
Nope, she ain't.
I
got her. Oh, I got her. Oh, I got her. I got her. Oh, I got her. I got her. I got her.
Thank you. That is wild to me. But I say it's wild, but I don't know how wild that is, because obviously I'm not a politician. But I have felt that it's very easy. I know, who drops a lot of money on my stream, and I have noticed that, larger donors sometimes feel like they have a say on my opinions, and that's a real concern. Yeah. Like, I want to be able to study and focus on the things that I feel are genuinely important, and it's scary because that's the way I make my living. It's scary to think, well, oh, if I don't align with you on this particular issue, you're gonna throw a fit and be like, well, fuck you, I don't want to donate. Like, okay, that's one of the reasons that I'm really grateful for having more dispersed income from a variety of people.
Oh my god. That is, I think they should remove it. This should not go on 80 carries. You should have to buy this specifically. It shouldn't be a talent. It's so dumb.
Learning even if it might not be perfect all the time, and hopefully that's an area for me to grow. But I can definitely respect that difficulty.
Moronic fucking Rito, dude. I hope that
move into
the company goes under.
R
from
word.
the community if you have
This is
time.
moronic.
Sure. Yeah.
You said the other R word.
I'm gonna grab some
When?
water.
Rito.
Okay.
Oh, Rito.
He's mad. He's like, what word? I didn't say it.
Scroll through and try to
He's so
find a
mad.
few, trying to start at the beginning.
I have no
How's the
smite.
race going? This is from Kalia.
Just kill it then for him.
Kalia says, how is the race going, and do you view your chances?
If you want, I can pretty much like smite it.
And how do you view your chances against your opponents? Are there polling numbers showing how this is going so far? I think yesterday we tried, like someone tried to look up polling numbers, but they don't do polling for Congress, do they?
Yes, they did.
They only do it in very highly contested seats.
Okay, yeah.
Even though there are a lot of candidates running in my seat in the race that I'm running in, there's not a lot of money being spent in it, and frankly, there's the expectation that the establishment candidate is just going to win, and so they are really like basically the 3 candidates with the most money are all candidates that generally the very wealthy would be happy with. So corporate
What a
PACs and like
slimy
corporate
little
entities and
fuck.
these consultant agencies aren't really focusing on it as much. As far as like how my race is going, right? So for people who don't know, I started this campaign running against Congressman Denny Heck. Denny Heck is part of the New Democrats coalition. He's a conservative Democrat.
Why did I do this?
He flat out said he would never support Medicare for all. Had no public policies that were at all good for the environment. Would not meet with the Sunrise Movement, which I was a part of. Would not support the Green New Deal.
Warrior, dude.
Wouldn't even pretend to support it. Wouldn't.
How did that
be
hit me?
activist to talk
Kill
about
that
it.
guy.
And he, by all standards, he looked like he was going to run for re-election against me, right? He raised $1.5 million. And what I had done was I had essentially consolidated support against him because of a various number of things that were very unpopular.
Not trying to steal, trying to help.
Yeah, well, you just
the
stole.
Democratic Party. He endorsed a local Republican. He endorsed many of them, but one in particular named Dean Johnson actually won a race in the Puyallup City Council with this Democrat's endorsement, right? So Denny Heck endorsed a Republican. He wins his race. That guy's now running for this seat, the 10th district. I went around to Democratic Party organizations, telling people that they just genuinely didn't know that he was endorsing Republicans.
This Joshua guy is gonna pull like 15% and get fucking crushed.
The Democratic
Is he running
Party
for Senate or
people who
Congress?
would never really support someone challenging their incumbent otherwise, right? He ended up dropping out and announcing his retirement.
Is this
right?
going to be the new world? Just
he
random
cited
Twitter
people with
fucking
large
gamers
Twitter
trying to go over
followings.
the
He
house?
cited people who are, very radical, and you can look into, the op-eds that he put out when he dropped out. Just look up Denny Heck dropping out, and you'll notice that the stuff he says sounds a lot like a vague post about me. And very, very specifically talking about progressive policies to try to appeal to young people or something weird like that, right? But he was begging me, but when he dropped out, and he said he was retiring. He's now running for lieutenant governor, so the retirement stuff was all bullshit. But so now I'm running against right now 4 Democrats and I think 5 Republicans.
Oh my god, I just worked my
what all of their alignments are, right? All of them combined have less money than the incumbent had himself. So, statistically, it's already easier to run against a non-incumbent than an incumbent. Incumbency is such a huge advantage in politics just because you have to make the case for people to remove someone who is already in office. It's just a very, you're swimming against the tide. They're going to have more money, they're going to have more connections, and they're going to have more influence on things like unions and other organizations that maybe you can win in an open primary, right? Now, because he dropped out, I'm running against all of these non-incumbents who have various disadvantages. They have really small web presences, and frankly, all of them combined have less money than the incumbent had himself when I was running against him. They've raised just barely more than I have, and They are also
Look at
running
how
a very
mad this
different
Singed
kind
is.
of campaign than I am. Each of them are, their
Laners
money is
think they
going
get
for
all the farm,
expensive
okay?
consultants, most of them
I
from
respect
DC,
this
not
guy.
really
Fucker
from the
doing.
district. They're spending their money on, very expensive mailers.
What are you doing?
They pay people just to run their social media accounts, and they don't really get any benefit out of it. They run these ridiculous email programs where if you have ever donated to me, I'm sorry, but you are going to get spammed with emails from my opponents because they get your stuff from the FEC filings and they just spam emails nonstop. They do it to anyone who signs up, anyone who's ever donated to Denny Heck, same thing. And that's what they spend their money on. That's their campaign strategy, is to just spam people with emails and buy people's data and send them text messages and hope they'll vote for them. Right? They're also running really expensive TV ads, which TV ads are banned.
We just simultaneously lost
pay
3
all this
objectives
money
at a
for
time.
TV ad,
That's
and it's
fucking
gonna
impressive.
hit a bunch of people who don't live in the district and can't vote. And they are also going to spend money on mailers. Mailers are very ineffective as well, unless you have really good messaging and eye-catching stuff. This is how a typical person runs for office anyway. This is how most people run a traditional campaign. They try to buy the seat, and with all 3 of them having just barely more money than me, and frankly not having anyone who's a clear front runner right now. There's one person with more money, she has no disadvantages, and they all have about the same amount anyway, right? I would expect them to split a lot of the same votes, and they are also splitting donors, and that's why they're not raising as much money. So we are in a pretty strong position against them. I stand out pretty significantly in that I am young, I'm the youngest person running. I am the only person with a working class background. Everyone else is like one of them was a staffer for Denny for a decade, and also worked in consulting. The other ones were like a lobbyist and a CEO.
Get in there, Moody Cakes.
And another one was a career politician. And I think that in itself gives me an advantage because people do like to see working class people running for office. It is an advantage to be more like my electorate, and I think that's the position I'm in. We are running a very strong field game, despite the fact that we can't knock doors. We are phone banking daily. And if you would like to sign up to volunteer, it's joshua2020.com. So we are in a really, really strong position, essentially. Where even though we have a bit less money, we are spending our money more effectively. And I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure we have more volunteers than all of them combined. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. Shoot, there was someone that asked a question that I wanted to pull before I went. Okay, yeah.
How does it feel being so young? No, it's
yeah,
just...
I do prefer, if possible, you to ask as they directed you. But since you don't have enough points, and I feel like this is a really on point question anyway, and I'd like to hear Joshua's response, so go ahead and shoot that over to him. How many candidates like you are there across the U.S.?
Well, let me tell you about the Rose Caucus.
I would assume. Do you associate with the Justice Dems at all?
Not anymore.
No. Okay.
They're sellouts.
Well, I actually could talk about that a bit. So there are a lot of different organizations that do what the Justice Dems do. The Justice Democrats is a very they are running a very traditional route. Their focus is making sure that their candidates have a ton of money, and they do spend a lot of money the way a traditional campaign does. And they try to build up their own campaigns from scratch. And that's what they do. They care a lot about traditional qualifiers. If you are someone without a college education, they're probably not going to work with you. If you're someone without, relevant experience in like a more, white collar job type, like if you're a lawyer, they'll probably work with you. But if you're someone who is like, a line cook, I don't think that's the type of people they work with these days. But they do raise a lot of money for their candidates. Yeah. I mean, they were taking it a different route than they did in 2018, where they are focusing a lot on money.
Oh my god, I need to cue him.
I get that. Okay. I understand money can be very effective, but I do think that the approach that they take isn't really right. the thing that I'm a part of is called the Rose
kills,
Caucus.
dude. They're freebies.
If you're someone who watches Destiny, he actually interviewed one of the Rose Caucus members, Yana Ledwick. The Rose Caucus is, working class candidates who are, all publicly identified socialists, or at least as democratic socialists, and all are running on the same unified platform. So if you like my policies, you can go to rosecaucus.com and
there it is.
You can see a bunch of other candidates with the who have adopted basically the same platform as me. And that was something that actually came out of my campaign. We built our policy platform, and the Rose Caucus was essentially a way for us to help other campaigns in a more official capacity. And if you go and look at the policy platform, it's the same as
Dragon and 10.
Because that policy platform came from my campaign. And there are candidates all over the country. We have one in California who actually made it through a primary. Her name's Angelica Duenas, and she's got a really good chance of winning. But if you look at that, you can see all of our candidates across the country.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. I did not realize that
Hello, Dragon?
systems had done that.
God, people,
so
what are you doing?
I
I don't
really,
know.
appreciate being updated on that, because I was gonna I'm interested in getting more involved from a political sort of slant. I'm more of like a grassroots activist kind of person and focusing on educating and changing minds, but I think that changing policy is important as well. So thank you for that information. Pulling up our next question.
You have to talk with Lumi after this? I don't think they're going to want to. I messaged them on Discord, but I don't think they'll want to.
You're staying Democrat?
That's actually something we haven't announced publicly yet, but we have a plan that you'll find very interesting.
Okay, all right. Well, the question here said, how do you think going third party will affect your campaign? What are you thinking of the pros and what cons? So I don't know if you want to get into that, but...
Well, I can say that running as a Green Party candidate is usually a giant disadvantage. Running as an independent is usually a disadvantage. We believe that we have the one party affiliation that is the exception to the rule. The rule is typically third party is not a viable way to get elected unless you already have like a ton going in your favor.
What are you
already.
doing?
I was dead. I can't get down there.
So I am a viable candidate no matter what party I run under.
Fuck?
But
let's do Baron, you and me, two brothers. Good luck.
Like if you support the Green Party, you'll notice that a lot of their candidates that actually do win were people who got elected as Democrats and changed affiliation. They did
You're not gonna end
other things to actually get
you're not.
Green Party candidates
elected,
and I think that's something to be aware of.
Please honor me
My
after this
initial
game,
plan was to run as a Democrat and then change my affiliation after, but I believe we have a specific moment in the time where we can actually form a viable third party, and that's
what is this glitchy shit? How do I alt him? I think I understand why. I think it creates like an AoE around you when you alt, and if somebody's standing like on top of you, I think it automatically alts them.
Publicly announce the party, it'll make a lot of sense.
I've had that happen to me multiple
You'll
times.
see what I'm talking about, and I know like that's very vague and it's probably
annoying.
Well, our deadline to to actually file is I think it's the 18th. It's the 18th of this month. So when we do file, that's when we're going to be publicly announcing it.
Ooh, all right. Well, you heard it here, chat. The leftist owl was wondering, what do you think you will do to improve your rhetorical skills and better prepare for panels such as the one you were on with Destiny?
Remember to share that information, guys. A lot of these socialist Rose Caucus fuckers, they don't give a fuck about the health of the Democratic Party or any of that shit. They don't even give a fuck about you as Democratic voters. They're just there to pick up some votes. If they can't do it, they're leaving the party in a fucking heartbeat. They couldn't give a fuck less.
To prepare for stuff like that, honestly, I really needed to sleep. My two worst speaking engagements was that one and another one, and the common factor between those was that I hadn't slept the night before at all. I think that was a big mistake of mine. I should have rescheduled it. I was sick that like couple days. I wasn't able to keep down any food. I was experiencing
oh my god,
just,
dude.
The complete inability to sleep. I like literally didn't sleep a single minute the night before. And I got through that day just by caffeine.
You speak
and,
it in rude
sheer will, but I did make the mistake of going on that without sleep. And I think that's something that I need to not do again. You know, I am human, and
we just run it down,
you know, I did let my ego get to me. I thought I'd be fine without sleep. I thought I'd just go on there and do just fine. And I should have recognized that, you know, you know, the mistake that I made before I did. So, you know, so I went into that very, very tired, and you know, I don't think anyone would have been bothered if I rescheduled. I think they would have just been like, it's fine, like, you know, whatever. Like,
nope, I would have called him a coward.
Before, and usually people are very cool about it, but you know, you can clearly see in that video. You can look at the way I'm talking, the way I'm like very low energy, and compare that to another thing, and you can see the difference. And frankly, it was just a very
sport is more pressure on the top lane. Yeah, I had 3 down there. It was
what's
sick.
The word, like overstimulating, like situation where I'm dealing with 4 people who disagree with me. I didn't do a lot of things that I would have done if I weren't tired. There were a lot of things I would have challenged. The particular moment that Destiny cited, where they asked me to list a specific policy, and then I listed one. They then they interrupted me. You can see this in the video, and then they started going off about how that's already the law. And if I had energy, I would have challenged that. Like, if I was, you know, more just aware, I would have challenged that, because it's flat out not true.
But I could kill her.
And they
I have
did
a
that
trail.
a lot during that. Like, if you, like, I considered going through the video, you know, with like a day of rest sleep, and you know, just picking apart the things that they kind of just bullshitted on. But you know, it's whatever. I'm just gonna move on.
It's super strange. Like, not only do I mind control people into being racist, I seem to be able to cast sleep at like great distances against people I talk to as well. A surprising number of people that talk to me get very sleepy.
Human being.
I'm not your mom.
Sleep.
I'm definitely your daddy.
I don't really want to hear it. So what I'm hearing from Joshua is he's taking a logical step to then go ahead and say, hey, I need to postpone things like that. And yes, Lycan, I did watch it. That's why I have a sunburn, because I sat out in the sun and I listened to it. So yes, I watched it, and I'm really disappointed that you would even open with that question, Lycan. I expect more of you as a streamer.
Oh my god.
I mean,
like, as somebody that's been anyone else here have experience being tired? I'm skipping you down for a second. I'm sorry. Anyone else here ever been tired before? Tired doesn't make you fucking forget every single fucking thing in your head. That's not what tired means. What a dumb fucking defense. Tired is like, okay, maybe you jumble some words, maybe you mix up some terms, you know, maybe you don't hear something right. Tired isn't like, what are your policies? Well, like healthcare. That's not tired. That's just fucking clueless, bro. Like, I want to enforce the law. Okay, well, that's already the law. That's not tired. You're just stupid. Like, yeah, tired makes you slow. It doesn't make you forget everything. Tired isn't amnesia. Jesus. But they'll let him walk away with that excuse because it's just here to gas him up.
They got that from the punishments for like violating labor laws are very modest. It's like $1,000 max for violation of someone's labor laws, labor limits. So for them to like, you know, do that, like that was something that if I were more like alert, I would have just challenged that immediately. But you know, if you want to go back and look at that, the part that he specifically cites, you can see like where he's like,
oh man,
whatever he just said. Did he just say labor laws are $1,000? I'm never gonna get the chance to push him on this. Hold on, I think I looked these up. I'm pretty sure the $1,000 limit is for the civil fine. That's like the civil fine. But like you can be prosecuted. I'm pretty sure like your second or third violation, labor law violation punishment. I could be wrong. Let's check. No, he said 1,000, not 5,000. Employers who willfully or repeatedly violate the minimum wage or overtime pay requirements are subject to a civil money penalty of up to $1,000 for each violation. Willful violations may be prosecuted criminally, and the violator fined up to $10,000. A second conviction may result in imprisonment. Get the fuck out of here. Clueless fuck.
pushing for the $15 minimum wage and getting that passed.
Fuck, I hate
back in
this guy.
2014
Oh my god, I
before,
hate him so much. He's
people
so...
even know who Bernie Sanders was. We had their full support, and they've been helping us.
He must be getting tired again.
Sending volunteers, when we need them. And they've been really amazing. They've platformed me, multiple times. They've spoken, at my events. They've had me speak at their events. My relationship with them has been very, very strong and very useful and helpful.
Mattman wanted to know, Josh's platform includes making name changes easier under the trans rights section. Is that limited to gender-related name changes, or would that also include, for example, religious names which no longer conform to one's religious identity?
Yes. There are a lot of anti-trans laws on the local and state and county level. If you live in Indiana, for example, and you want to change your name, you have to, you're legally required to publish your, not only is it expensive, but you have
in a
to
newspaper
publish your
name change,
your name, your dead name and your name in the local newspaper.
It's so that there's supposed to be a public record for tracking. It's not that weird. It's so that there's
specific.
public record. This is pretty standard for a lot of shit. So for instance, when I had the charters of whatever for my business to start my LLC, I had to publish an article in a local newspaper for it as well. It's not expensive. It's fuck, what was it? Was it $10 or $15? Maybe more. Some papers are more expensive, but it's not expensive at all. Or maybe in some places it's more expensive.
And also making it affordable or free.
I'm all for people changing their names for if they don't like their name, or for trans people, whatever. That's cool, but it should probably be somewhat hard to do. You don't want people fucking name changing all over the place. It makes record tracking and everything a fucking nightmare. Going through an actual name change process is pretty irritating. You've got to call your bank. You've got to change your fucking thing on all of your bills, your leases. People are gonna ask you forever oh, well, you were under this name, but now you're under this name, right? There's a lot of weird shit that goes into that.
If you'll be able to answer this, but
my journey's only beginning.
can we do to make politics more accessible for the disabled community?
I'm not really sure. The thing about politics is those things are used against you. So a lot of people who have disabilities of any kind or are neurodivergent, they tend to keep it to themselves. I know that a lot of people experience things like anxiety.
My mouse is locked on my other computer and it won't go back. Oh,
I
thank you,
know
Jesus.
Some people personally who are
Sometimes what you have to do is you have to restart Synergy.
Their experiences with disabilities or mental illness or being neurodivergent, just because they are worried about the repercussions. I think that's something that I would like for us to change as a society, to culturally begin accepting people who are who are neurodivergent or have a disability and not view them negatively for
Is it neurodivergent? I've never heard that. I guess I hear neuroatypical is usually what I hear, but whatever.
Frankly, be the first one and be more open about it, and for the electorate to accept them with those disabilities.
Thank you. Jay was wondering, what is the date of the primary election in Washington, and how can people vote for you?
August 4th. It's in Washington State. It's a 100% mail-in ballot system, and you can register online. So I think it's vote.wa.gov. You can register to vote. You just have to live in the district and be an eligible voter. When it comes to July 17th, you will get your ballot in the mail. You fill it out. You either drop it in the mailbox or take it to a ballot drop box, and your ballot will be turned in. We already had this system before the pandemic, so this isn't something new in Washington State. It's already a very smooth process. We've had it, I think, for
I fucked up.
4
I
years
should be
now or
carrying my
something.
stacks with me.
And postage is free already. You don't really have to do anything but register, and then fill out your ballot. And it's super simple. You can also verify your vote online to make sure that it's counted.
Ooh, that's
So.
good.
Yeah, we have, frankly, one of the best systems in the country, one of the most secure systems. And another important thing, our primaries are controlled by the parties. The Democratic Party does not control who can run as a Democrat. The Democratic Party also has no influence of the counting process, of any of that. You don't have to register as a Democrat to vote for a Dem, all this other stuff. It's actually a really, really good system as an open primary where you don't have to have any party affiliation. You can vote for whatever party you want, and you can also run as whatever party you want. If you want to run as the, ban plastic bags party, you could just put that on your ballot and it would be right next to your name. Like you can do whatever. Like you can write I could just call myself the Joshua Collins party. Yeah, I don't know. You can do anything. Yeah, anything
Very
18 characters or less you can put on your ballot. It's pretty interesting.
Interesting, yeah. All right. But Puddle says, what is... Wait. No, Selma said, considering your push-up TikTok, would you accept a push-up contest against Biden?
I do push-ups endlessly. I'm actually pretty healthy. I exercise pretty extensively, and I was in really good shape when I was younger. I have like a lot of injuries from like jobs that I've had that kind of limit me, but I can do push-ups like 200 without even like thinking about it. So
Jesus Christ, is that true?
Okay.
I don't know if Biden wants to smoke. So
Fair enough. Puddle wanted to know, what is the best TikTok challenge?
The best TikTok challenge.
Wait, does he have a TikTok video of that?
So I actually know how to do
What did he
like
say?
dance TikToks.
You can do 200 push-ups. That's pretty
but
decent.
I've never posted any
That's
just
a
because I'm worried that it'll be just cringe or whatever. So and I'm not, and I definitely post some cringe on TikTok, but there are levels to it. My difficulty with TikTok though is
200 is
if
way
I
beyond
post-
decent. Well, like, so assuming you worked out and you were at a really low body fat percentage, you could churn out a fuck ton of push-ups, right? Like, assuming that, I would imagine, right? Like, push-up is about 70%, 75% of your body weight in a push-up. So if you weigh like 150 pounds and you can bench press, like, assuming you could bench press, like, if you could bench press like 225, that'd be pretty good. But like, if you could bench press 225 and you weigh like 150, then like doing a push-up is like benching like 125 or 135, right? Like you should be able to do a fuck ton of those, right? 200 would be a lot though. I'm coming around. Good luck. Good job.
Have staff.
He doesn't look
very
like he could do it,
experienced,
but
very
maybe he can.
we are running a very effective campaign. I've gotten more media coverage than all of my opponents combined. I think that in itself is just the result of me not trying too hard to act like a politician. I often get the criticism that I don't act professional. Well, I'm not professional. I'm not a professional politician. I'm just a working class person running for office. So.
I like that answer. Yeah. Thank you. So Frog wanted to know, when
Oh my God, I have blue
first
buff.
find out that you were autistic? For me, it
By
was
the
last
light.
month from
This
Frog.
lane is fucking over.
It was actually last year.
Do you want to meme out? Oh wait, hold on.
Uh,
I'm gonna drop this up top.
I
Okay?
didn't know most of my life. I did go into like an IED when I was younger, where like I was.
Oh, I'm gonna do the spinny
like,
thingy. Okay.
Taken into a separate class. They called it the gifted
Ooh.
program, but it also had like I think that like
Just down the
likely
middle,
ability
dude.
to
I am the
pursue
fucking
I was
best.
autistic
I
then,
can
but
bench
just,
little.
I don't think this is good anymore.
it never turned into an actual diagnosis then. I think a lot of people go through life who are autistic,
All right.
not knowing
Go
they're
back up.
autistic. And for me, what that's done is
Alright.
I just didn't know how to recognize a lot of those things, and I just tried to cope with just struggling with things. I've always struggled with maintaining friendships and relationships in general. Even with my own family, where I don't maintain those relationships very well. It's usually a lot more effort put in by them than it is for me, and not for a lack of like love and caring, but just the way I am. It doesn't even come across my mind to call my mom, so I have to be reminded to do it. So but yeah, later being diagnosed later in life does come with its consequences, but it also does result in being able to do things like socially masking pretty well. I feel like I can act pretty normal a lot of times, and that's just because I didn't know I was autistic and was just trying to survive life. So.
Thank you. Ross, thank you so much for the question. I recognize that this is something that Joshua actually answered on a previous panel. So if you haven't got that, I would recommend checking that out there because we have quite a few coming through, but thank you. Lumi Rue, this is a question for Joshua from President Parakeet. What is your foreign policy stance more specifically? And I'm actually gonna cut this to one part if you don't mind, President Parakeet. But if you want to dive deeper into this in the future, maybe we will have Joshua back on. I don't know. I know you're very busy, Joshua. No pressure on that. President Parakeet was wondering specifically what the United States should do in regards to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Well, I think very importantly, we need to stop funding the Israeli military. And I think that we should, I do support the BDS movement. I certainly don't think we should have, anything punishing businesses for participating in BDS. I think we should generally advocate for the rights of the Palestinians. So I think that's the position we need to take. They have a very undemocratic system where Palestinians are treated as second-class citizens. So I would support, them having actual democracy and, actually scaling back the settlements that they've been doing illegally for the last decade or several decades. So that's general my stance is, just stop continuing to expand their settler colonial state in general.
Colonialism.
Right, thank you. Are you part of a leftist organization like Our Revolution or JD?
I am endorsed by Our Revolution. I work a lot with the Our Revolution people in my state, and my roommate's one of the bigger figures in Washington State. Our Revolution, I've been endorsed by our state and our county, Our Revolution. So they're one that I've worked
Remember
with.
when Bernie Sanders
Olympia
suspended his
yesterday,
campaign and Reddit was like,
I've worked with them a ton.
no.
Socialist Alternative, also a national party that has endorsed me. The Rose Caucus as well. If you don't know what the Rose Caucus is, you can go to rosecaucus.com. That is, something that actually formed out of my campaign. If you are someone who is not experienced in running for office and you're trying to run for office, I would start with the Rose Caucus. We have a lot of resources for upstart candidates, and we are very open and transparent about how to do, what I've done and what other candidates have done. We've shared knowledge, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we've achieved is just letting other people know, what we've experienced, what are the things that I've struggled with, how they overcome them, and the same for other candidates.
You push them in?
How they've overcome stuff like, being blocked from using van or getting data from voter data. And we've helped candidates overcome a lot of that stuff, and very fortunately we got one of our
I think he's scripting, brother. I'm 99%. I haven't hit an E all game.
She's a Rose Caucus candidate, and she won her primary.
Might be.
So she's going on the general, and I think she has a really good chance.
That's definitely a scripter, my dude.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me double. Okay, is there any? This is from Twisted Tensor. Is there any demand
If
for
I don't hit
doing
an E,
data
just run,
analysis
always.
on social
Gotcha.
media data for smaller candidates? I'm a data scientist in my day job, and I'm looking for ways to use that as a skill.
What's fucking funny?
that skill
Please
as an
enlighten me.
activist.
What's funny on what just happened in the top lane? Go ahead. I'm
Yeah?
sure everybody in chat's ready
So
to
are they
laugh.
asking for broad
I didn't say anything was funny.
data
What do you
analysis
mean?
that we've produced, or?
No, so it looks like Twisted Tensor does data analysis, and they're wondering if there's demand for people like them that do that sort of work because they want to work as an activist helping leftist candidates, and that's a skill they have.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of candidates that use data analysis. We have a lot of that kind of on our existing campaign staff who tend to have other responsibilities as well. What I would recommend is if you are someone who wants to go into doing that, go and volunteer on a campaign, and like even if it's someone who's not, you know, the furthest left candidate in your area or whatever, just whoever you can, and get some experience and like get some knowledge of how a campaign works. If I had done that before running, I feel like I would be in a much better position now than I was before. A lot of the people who have worked on my campaign will be much more capable in the next cycle, just because of the massive amount of experience they've gotten and the knowledge they've gotten from this. There's a lot that you can't really learn unless you're like unless you're in the room, unless you're in the office, you know, helping, you know, run stuff. So I think that's probably the best place for you to start, is just get some general experience as a volunteer.
All right, thank you, Joshua.
Yeah.
98 was wondering, are you worried about autistic burnout as a result of needing to mask so often while campaigning for Congress and while working, assuming that you win?
So not really. It's something that I can do pretty well. I mean, honestly, sleep is the biggest factor for me. You know, I most of my life I've sleep. I think that's been pretty unhealthy. Lately, I've been making a very active effort to make sure I'm getting at least 8 hours of sleep every night, and that makes it a lot easier. On days where I've had less sleep, I'm much likely to burn out by the end of the day, and my tone goes flat. I stop being able to really show any sort of emotion, just because, you know, and that's something that takes energy when you're autistic. Just, you know, doing facial expressions, you know, just basic stuff that, you know, right now I can do without thinking, and then later, like, if I have a really long day
my bad. I should have pinged going in.
I'm usually much more aware of it, and then I'm much more careful not to, like, you know, not to let.
I wish I could clone myself and play with myself as a jungle, dude. I can do the initiates, but nobody follows up. But then when I play AD, the jungle doesn't do anything, and I just sit there and I want to fucking kill myself in a video game.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so Central Committee.
This
was
guy is
wondering,
going to be
you mentioned
absolutely
resources for
ruined
new
during
candidates
daylight
with the
savings
Rose
time. Will
Caucus.
he be
What
able to
are
even
they?
work?
I don't know.
A lot of it's just basic advice. You know, we have a lot of people who are experienced, like political workers, who have.
Oh my God, Mike wants to run under the Rose Caucus now.
have
That's the
been
only way he can
high-level
save his
positions on
fucking
campaigns.
stream.
They can literally tell you whatever you're dealing with. You know, like, we have a lot of people on a Discord server who will, you know, share knowledge on whatever is needed for candidates. As long
The
as
Rose
those candidates
Caucus,
are
now
aligned
on
with us
Discord.
on policy,
Only on
because
Discord.
one of the most important things about the Rose Caucus is for us to get our policies to become mainstream and to become advocated for on a broader scale. Our policy platform, you know, we talked about the trans rights platform earlier. Before we did this, I was the only one pushing for a lot of those policies. There were, frankly, no other federal candidates running our platform that included almost any of those policies. And now we have over 30 people in the Rose Caucus on top of more people outside the Rose Caucus. So it's very important to us that you are policy, but you know, if you are someone who is interested in you know, working with them and getting advice and guidance from the Rose Caucus, that's something that you can you know, contact them and, you know, find out like what they don't do consulting services. They're not like someone who charges money for anything. I know that there are some other organizations that do that require you to give them a lot of money or just let them have a percentage of fundraising. They don't do anything like that. It's just most
percentage of
of our candidates
fundraising?
are candidates who have very little money,
Oh, sorry.
but are people who work hard and have like genuine grassroots support. So, you know, we can help you navigate just basic political stuff, and yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Pretty much it.
Thank you. One last question, because I find this
Sure.
quite interesting and very relevant to our community. Washington's 10th district, by the way, President Parakeet, thank you for this question. Washington's 10th congressional district is the native land of several Shalish,
Nice.
Shalish tribes. As a congressman, how would you help their communities? What do you think needs to be done?
I think we need to establish firmly tribal sovereignty. I think that there are a lot of issues that tribes deal with that are
Feels fucking bad, man.
results of the federal government, being very invasive and stepping over their sovereignty as tribes. I think that there are other issues that are a result of a lack of communication between the tribes and the federal government. The federal government does not share data with the tribes on murders and like kidnappings and stuff. And that's actually that has a lot to do with why we have the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. It's because there isn't. Not only are the laws set up so that it's very difficult for them to actually prosecute people properly, but the issue of the federal government not sharing data with the tribes on people going missing and people who have been murdered, bodies that have been found, things like that. That is what results in them not being able to actually accurately track who's missing and try and find those people, and have the basic stuff of just letting someone know that their relative has been found and that they were killed or something. It's just I think that's a big thing that we need to do is start trusting the tribes, but also I think we need to make sure that we are giving funding for things that the tribes do that we shouldn't be stepping over. They have their own healthcare system. I think we should make sure that they have any additional funding they need for that, as well as their education system. We tend to view it as a more fraternal relationship, and I think that is the wrong approach. We need to just flat out give them money that they are owed. I also believe in allowing them to, or just completely respecting the tribal sovereignty when it comes to environmental issues, especially. Right now, if you don't know, there is the LNG plant being built on tribal land, and there's a pipeline that goes under tribal land as well, and we're having the Puyallup tribe have to fight that in court and spend just millions on just legal costs to fight that from being built, and which is illegally being built. And I think that's something that we need to start respecting and put an end to the LNG pipeline. If you want to learn more about that, you can look up the Tacoma LNG. I know 350.org has a lot of information about that as well. And it's basically our Dakota Access Pipeline. And to explain it the most simply is that is what we're dealing with. Where this company is just doing everything they can to illegally build something that is not good for our environment on tribal land. So.
What was it called again?
Oh, the Tacoma LNG plant, LNG project. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'd love to look into that more. And I was saying that was the last question. We've got a few more good questions coming in. Hopefully we can have Joshua on again. That would be fantastic. But Lindsay asked one question, and I'd love to end on a wholesome note. Lindsay wanted to know,
what's your favorite type of birthday cake?
What color is Joshua's fingernail polish? I like it.
What was the question?
What color is your nail polish? Lindsay likes your nail polish.
It's like matte black. I feel like it looks cool, so that's why I do it.
Gotcha. Understood.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. To those of you whose questions I did not get to, I do apologize. I'll be in touch with Joshua, and maybe if he feels it's worth his time, he will join us again. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna pop out really quick with Joshua, and I will see you all in just a moment.
Autistic burnout.
Maybe it's a real thing. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Please call him out on his push-ups. I want to see 200 in a row.
I'd be impressed with like 50. I think it's pretty good.
Strict. He said he could do 200
He said it
without
thinking
even thinking about it.
Does
I
he
wanna
have it
see
on
that.
TikTok somewhere?
That's like Navy SEAL level. If they're real push-ups. Did he not say in a row? I thought he did.
Okay, 200 in a day is not impressive. Wait,
No, not at all. Like, fucking anybody.
I can do
fuck that.
200 in a day, okay? It's
God.
not impressive. This is Warwick doing.
The Coast Guard? Yeah, Dan, did you have to do 200 in a row for your Coast Guard training?
I just have no... These people just don't want to do anything with me this game, I guess. Oh, fuck. I needed to smite that. God damn it. She's gonna kill me. Oh my god, she didn't kill me. Oh, fuck. I should W before me using my abilities.
We have a video, Steve.
Of him doing how many? Where, Link? Where is it?
10 clap push-ups. I think I
God,
counted.
yeah.
I only halfway counted.
Aw,
It was-
he
All right, let's put this working, boys. Woo!
My journeys only begin.
Oh. I was not there at all. Good job.
I'm not your mom. I'm definitely your daddy.
America, baby, let's go. This ought to do the trick.
Those are pretty
Is there
good,
some way I
right?
can like get
They're
fit?
decent.
Yeah.
But just watch towards the end. He really starts to
Get tired?
fatigue. Yeah.
Why do I keep Wing at the end? Fuck.
All right, chat. When Steve runs for Congress or Senate, a donation goal. I'll do 200 push-ups in a row. I'll train for it.
I'll donate to that dude if someone can get him to prove he can do 200 push-ups.
I like how we're just attacking him on this one claim.
Oh no, there's plenty to attack him on.
That's the most important one. Like, and I'm really disappointed in you also.
As a streamer.
You
Yeah, I
got
know.
dumpstered.
You know what pissed me off is that was a bullshit response. Because like I led with, "Hey, did you watch it?" But the entire message was, did you watch it? As a political candidate, you should be able to rattle off 3 fucking policies, no
Wow,
matter how
sounds
fucking
even
tired you
worse.
are.
What the fuck?
What? Fuck off.
Steve, will you stay up for 36 hours and then debate him after he gets a full night rest?
We could just do
What
Baron
were
for
your
free.
thoughts?
Early team out is not a thing?
don't
I don't
know,
know. I just
Bob
have like a
Jones.
build thing that I'm following. It's not right.
What are you building?
I
don't
did.
know. Whatever the
It
fuck is on my
happened.
thing.
Did you just teleport? Of course I did. Something to acknowledge is when we bring people on. I am learning in this area,
Oh, you're playing Wukong.
and so
I thought you were playing
I
Wolverine.
can't always push back on everything. And I already told you all that that wasn't entirely my goal in the first place. But my hair changed side too. That does happen. Check Discord
have no
DMs.
mana.
I did. Are
Should we
you
just
from
end?
Destiny's community?
Why are you telling anybody? It's not about me. Wait, who said that?
What is your concern, Slav?
You're cringe, whoever you are.
Yeah, of course Destiny's gonna show up and his community is gonna show up. They don't like Joshua and Destiny perhaps
I'm done
has
for now, I gotta
some
eat.
genuine concerns. But
It was
the
fun. We won
unfortunate
a lot.
thing is,
Holy shit.
I
I might be back
feel
later
like
if you want to play
instead
more.
of treating
Yep,
me
sorry.
like a
Bye-bye.
reasonable person that did something he disagrees with, he is going to react very strongly with hyperbole. And it's just frustrating. It makes it really exhausting to engage with him because I feel like I have to be very careful in my critiques and very mindful in my critiques. Whereas he doesn't feel he owes anyone similar respect. So
This guy is running for Congress, and we're supposed to treat him like a fucking 4-year-old. All right, whatever. To be fair, you treated that one Rose Caucus lady with kid gloves too. She didn't say anything incredibly fucking stupid when she was on my show, so there was nothing for me to push back on that much, I don't think. It just seems a little bit sad when the Josh guy is like literally a scammer. And then to just bring him on, let him plug his scam, and then moonwalk the fuck out, while also spreading lies about the current presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party. Just seems a little bit irresponsible, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. What about the franchise guy? What about the franchise guy? I argued with that dude for like 45 minutes. What are you talking about? Do you just hate Lumi? No, of course I don't hate Lumi. Why are you guys so fucking hyperbolic? Jesus Christ. I just think the Joshua guy's a piece of shit. I don't think he should be like just allowed to parade his scam around on Twitch streams without any pushback. I think it's really sad. But I don't hate Lumi. Huh. Do you think by saying Josh is a piece of shit that Lumi takes it as hyperbolic and gets defensive? I think that Lumi is not as plugged in to like the current politisphere, which is fine. You don't have to be.
What?
So, what?
What?
What? Do you disagree?
What? I have no idea what you're talking about. Just unmuted.
Fuck you. Okay, can you, me, and Tabor throw up a W? Is it possible?
I bet you were saying some dumbass shit as usual.
Oh, Lycan's here too. You, me, and Lycan maybe could throw up a W.
I'm in a game. You guys can go up. I'm in a league game, but it's gonna end soon.
Explain the scam? The guy is pretending to run for Congress. He doesn't know any of his positions. He doesn't know anything about what he's doing. I doubt they're even sincerely fucking, like, canvassing or doing anything. They probably have, like, 3 people in an office, like, phone dialing, like, 20 people a day. Like, he just collects a fuck ton of money from donors so he can get a check mark on Twitter, and then he'll use it to build a resume in the future. Like, oh, look, I ran for blah, blah, blah. I say build a resume. Like, he's not going to do anything with it, but...
So you think it's more that than just trying to steal money?
No, he's not trying to steal money. You can't steal donations, right? Like, you can't just spend it on yourself personally after the campaign is over. You can't just, like, take it.
Oh,
was it a scam as opposed to any of the candidates? Because I think the Josh guy, I think, would admit, if you had him in a room alone, he'd be like, oh, yeah, like, this shit is all dumb as fuck. Like, I know I can't win. I'm just, like, fucking here for memes. Like, 100%. I am no longer a materialist, okay? Or physicalist. I have